Okay, I've got 6. We'll get underway with the Beal Early Childhood Center Building Committee meeting Tuesday, March 10th, 2020 at 6 p.m. I'd like to take the agenda a dash out of order, if you don't mind, tonight, so that we can get a full explanation and understanding of item 5. But we'll start with item 2, which is the meeting minutes of February 11th, 2020. Comments, questions? If not, could I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those approve shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Two, if the board will agree with me, I'd like to jump down now to item 5 so that Walter can give us a full explanation regarding the review and request for the committee's approval of a $0 cost contract change order number 1 for Fontaine Brothers.
Absolutely.
Good
So,
evening.
change order 1, as just noted, is a $0 cost change order. What that means for the project is that these monies are already encumbered by the project in the GMP, whether they are allowances, holds, or RTA or allowances or holds, or GMP contingency, which is part of Fontaine's contract.
So when you hear change order, many people think additional monies.
Exactly.
In fact, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is more of the technical mechanism within the IAA documents to make all
Approve
the numbers
funding.
work.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So it is a mechanism for
Allow them
Fontaine to bill.
The
Yep.
money's already,
Yep.
the funding's already approved and the money's already approved.
It's
This
really
just
just
allows them to bill,
to bill. Yep.
to invoice
Yep.
against
So
it.
it's
But my concern is no contingency fund was hit, even though the
No.
word contingency is used.
correct. That
Very
is
good.
correct.
Any other questions? Comments? Very good. Could we have a motion regarding item 5?
So moved. Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve item 5. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're unanimous. Item 3, review and act on the following bill schedules and warrants regarding Fontaine Brothers, Inc., requisition 13, $2,269,355. LPA, Inc., invoice 1717-2001, $70,251.67. PMA Consultants, LLC, invoice 04110-32, $78,115, period 50. And Shrewsbury Utility Bill 692250 for $1,875. Any comments or questions regarding these matters? Any further explanations provided?
I believe Deb has an explanation for the Shrewsbury utility bill.
That's the stormwater bill. And it's just issued, I guess, from the town of Shrewsbury to everybody that owns property in the town of Shrewsbury for some initiative that's not funded by anything else except the stormwater billing to everybody that owns property.
Okay.
The project budget has $30K line item in the project budget dedicated to utility bills. And we haven't drawn down on that item at all. So
Very good.
we can cover this under that project code.
Okay, further questions, comments? If not, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we're unanimous. Item 4, here reports, review and act on the following matters. Report from the owner's project manager regarding project financials.
All right, so everybody has the budget summary, that's become our typical handout. The changes on this are, we've added the PMA Contract Amendment 3 that was approved at February's meeting, and it includes fire stopping testing and the Multi-Vista photo construction documents and the web-based exact builds. It's gonna, you guys are gonna have, for in perpetuity, you'll have it always. So that's added to our contract value, it brings up to 2875085. We have the cost through February. Everything invoices, $21,698,109. Balance to finish just brings you to the $92 million. Then the encumbered to date is all the contracts. This includes the 59, I think it was 59109 that we approved for the GIS thingy-do that you guys are doing. Okay, so, and, so that's in there, and there's the remaining project budget. Again, those purple numbers equal the 92 million. Then we have pro pay submitted to date is 19 million and change. The reimbursements are 8.5 million, And we have the one pending reimbursement that we submitted, that actually should say ProPay 21. I got an extra zero in there, sorry about that. That we submitted on 2/28. And that's 1.5 is pending reimbursement.
Comments, questions? Not hearing any. A report from the project architect. Good evening.
We have been continuing with our teamwork activities with everybody at the table. And from our perspective, again, that going very well. We had our first history wall meeting with the students recently, and it was great. There were, maybe, I'm looking to Mr. Girardi because he was there. Ms. Clowder was there, Mr. Perna from the Historical Commission, and Mr. McGee from the school committee, all participating in this, and there were about 25 students, and I think 10 or 15 weren't able to make it that night. And I would say, very typical of what we've seen from the Shrewsbury Public Schools, very well-structured independent study program to engage these students, primarily juniors, with looking at Major Beal and the site and the different components that are a part of what is going to make this facility what it is. They're looking at these different tracks collaboratively, really inspirational curriculum setup in that regard. And the kids ask good questions. They all seem to be very busy, but they seem very motivated. So we're looking forward to, at the end of the spring, getting their thoughts and their materials together, and we will work with the art teacher as well to consider graphic opportunities, and then we'll pull it together in the end. So that has been a terrific experience so far, and we're looking forward to seeing that come together, and it will be, as we've described before, as you come into the lobby, right adjacent to the gym entry. So that's been going well. Mr. Girardi and Ms. Clowder have been very involved with the furniture selections and the surveys and the staff and faculty for samples that we had. We called it a fair, to look at different types of furniture. And so again, very engaged, great process from our perspective. So I know I say it frequently, but it's really a privilege for us to work in Shrewsbury, and these are examples of why. Everything is done in an exceptionally professional manner, always pushing us to do better, and so we're happy to be a part of that.
Good. Questions, comments to the architects? Yes.
There's a final presentation for this group on Thursday, June 4th at 6 o'clock p.m. at Shrewsbury High School. This is when the students will be getting up and presenting their projects, both individually and as a collective.
What time?
6 o'clock p.m.
Thank you. Any other comments? No. Thank you very much. 4C, report from the construction manager regarding schedule update and construction progress.
Sure, so you all were out there last month when we did the topping off ceremony, and the big news over the last month is the slab on deck. Building A, B, C, slab on deck has been poured on, and for all those buildings, A, B, and C. And Monday, we plan on pouring a slab on grade in building B. Today we met with the envelope consultant. That's to make sure, now that we have the structure up, the next phase of the project is to get the building encased. So we met with all our tradespeople, the roofer, mason, metal panel, window, drywall, air vapor barrier contractor, to make sure that they're on board with the testing that needs to happen, to make sure that you folks have a good envelope for your building. With that being said, the mason and the drywall folks will be the next people on site. The mason will start next Monday with the elevator shaft. Gonna meet with the fireproofer and the drywall contractor this Thursday to start the exterior. Now you're gonna start to see the exterior skin go up on a building. All that is happening outside. The site contractor is continuing with the site utilities, the drainage. And then behind the scenes, we're still doing mechanical coordination so that the HVAC contractors, plumbers, electricians, sprinkler contractors can start to run all their equipment on the inside once we have an enclosed space. We've been having successful descope and buyout meetings with LPA and PMA for all the disciplines that are coming on board, and all of those folks are coming in under budget, which is a good thing. But the CM process allows us to make sure we're buying exactly what you want. So it's working out very well.
In addition to the schedule we handed out in your packet, the critical path of the project. So Frank kind of mentioned it, looking to pour that slab in B on grade. That's going to be followed by fireproofing, some exterior light gauge metal framing, a little bit of roof work, and then that's when we'll hit the ground running with MEPs, rough-ins. And we'll work building B, building C, building A, second floor, first floor, and then we'll go into finishes following that. But that's kind of what's outlined in the red bars on your 11 by 17 handout.
Thank you. As you folks look at the balance of the project, months ago, of course, we were concerned about tariffs. And we were concerned about tariffs and friction within the trade war. And neither of those seem to have impacted adversely this project. Now, as we look at various ports around the world shutting down because of a variety of efforts to contain this virus, do you see any critical path items
Yes.
that aren't in the United States today
So
that
we,
could be a challenge to meeting the schedule?
yeah, so we reached out to all our subcontractors, vendors, stakeholders in the project. With that, none of us in this room know what is gonna happen here.
Yep.
But we do know that a lot of our components and parts and pieces, or parts of pieces, come from China.
Yep.
So I recently reached out to all of them as we've been watching this thing develop and just asked me what keeps me up at night. These are the things that keep me up. So we've asked them to reach all their vendors, let us know if there's any impacts or anything we can do to be proactive, and I have not heard. I did talk to, the thing that concerns me the most is the electrical package. That, a lot of lighting pieces and components come from China. So with that, we reached out to our electrical contractor and asked him to put a push on the lighting package. And if need be, we'll take possession of it. If there's a cost for it, we'll deal with that. But I'd rather have the components
Yeah.
than not have the components and be waiting, or at least get on a list so we know that they're in a queue.
Yeah.
So it's too
So
early to
it-
tell, but it has my concern.
So if you could hone that list, because ultimately if you're able to create a list and the items such as that are critical to life safety matter, you can't open a building without that, obviously. You can't complete a building.
Yeah.
There might be some things, frankly, which you can open a building safely. So they're on that list, but they're not that critical to achieving life safety code and educating children safely. So if you could, as you're working on that within the next couple of weeks, get a list to Kevin.
Yep.
So that we can begin to understand the size and scope of the challenge that might be facing the project. That would be appreciated. Because there's an awful lot riding on this one school opening on time.
Sure.
So the sooner, if we're gonna have a hiccup, the sooner we can get a sense of that, I think the better for everyone who's living their lives in the trenches planning for such an opening. Anything else? Any other comments on schedule or construction progress? Not hearing any, we'll move on to item 6, which is review the district executed buy authorization requests for the GMP contract values versus buyout values. Walter?
Yep, so as you remember, the GMP was executed with scope holds. These are defined packages that Fontaine will be purchasing over the remainder of the project. We have made 9 purchases to date, and then a 10th that is partially purchased. What you see listed on the top half of the sheet are the packages we purchased. What the GMP hold value was, which was Fontaine's best estimate, contingencies included in there, and then what the buyouts have been coming in at. So what we've done is sat down with those subcontractors, gone through their scope, and made sure that everything has been included in that package and that they're not missing any important components that they'd need to come back and say, hey, we didn't buy this out. We've gone through that with the team PMA, LPA, and Fontaine all in the room. And then following that, we've gotten a finalized scope package from them and reviewed it with Kevin for authorization. We are happy to say that as we move through each of these, there's been savings on each one. That is a running total at the bottom, but it's much better to look at these individually on each of the buy packages. And as we move forward, we'll keep this running list and we'll keep you updated as we move forward. What's important to note from this is following the completion of the project, what would happen with that number would be that it would be turned into Fontaine's GMP or CM contingency. And then Fontaine, following that, issues a deductive change order to the project because those are monies that are unspent.
We
at
like
that point.
deductive change.
Sounds good to me, which it's a good
Yes.
thing. What I will note is the bottom, the bedrock well, partial install and develop well only. Reason being for that, we need to get the well installed and know what the production of that well can be prior to purchasing all of the remaining pieces and components of having that well supply an irrigation system. What we are going through right now is making sure we can get that, but the well provider, or the guy that's going to be installing the well, has offered two systems. One is a little bit more expensive, we call that the Cadillac, and that's what was on the drawings, because that's what we figured we needed to be able to supply this irrigation system that's gonna be put in, temporary irrigation system. And then he feels that with a good well production that the condition could be met with something less expensive. So we're gonna be looking at it as a team. We'll bring this to Kevin and Keith at the weekly meetings. But the well, we'd see going in the next 2 months, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yep.
So it's
Any
just a
other schools
portion.
in the area in the like situation?
For wells?
Yeah, so that Keith can call a guy as opposed to just talking to the producer.
The problem with the well, it's really location defined, right? Like, I mean, we could do a well 500 yards away and not have the correct
Flow, production.
flow.
Yeah, true story. No, I understand that.
So I think,
This guy's, he has done work in Shrewsbury. He did the soccer fields.
and I was involved in the whole meeting when they
Oh,
discussed.
okay, great.
Yeah.
The two options and stuff
Great.
like that, so.
It'll be
But then we
fully,
just put a bigger well there and draw from one well and feed both. Just an idea.
yeah.
Stay out of the
We
weeds.
did look at that, actually, they're not
I couldn't hear you.
located, we did look at that, actually, they're not located in the right
Okay.
spots for that, so we'll have separate ones,
All right,
but.
thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Comments, questions? Great work, thank you.
Just
No
one
problem.
question,
Yes.
if I could. I'm just curious if there was any more that anybody could add to, in terms of the buyouts on the acoustical room components or the tile and carpeting formats, which seem to be kind of like on a percentage basis, pretty significantly under. Are we still getting everything that was specified?
Yes.
And is there any big reason you could call out around why they're so significantly under?
They were competitive with the other trades. It made sense from a project's perspective. The folks that we hired to do the carpet is the same contractor doing the tile. They were the trade bidder for the tile work. And in the media center, we have both tile and carpet. And it made sense to hone in on him to make sure he had a complete package. That way, there's no finger pointing, as they usually do, that says going from one transition to the other. Acoustical wall panel is a guy that we've used a lot, New England Interior Specialties, and he's gonna end up, looks like, doing a lot of the other components for the project under budget.
Thank you.
Okay, we don't need a motion, but thank you, we'll accept that report. Item 7 would be to set the date for the next meeting, which I believe is the 14th of April. And then after that, we're the 12th of May, as I have it. Do you guys see any reason for an out-of-cycle meeting?
I do not.
Okay, great. Anything else? Any further questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay, anyone from the other side? No? Okay, great. We have a motion to adjourn. Motion been made, second to adjourn. All those in favor, so signify by saying aye. Opposed, we're